So if you are going to do that practice, I recommend that you not do it within the 4 hours prior to your bedtime. Earlier, I mentioned that I would talk about ways to improve focus if you are sleep deprived. This is something that I'm all too familiar with. I put a lot of effort into optimizing my sleep. That's something that with each passing year, I put more and more effort into, again, because sleep is so vital for mental health, physical health, and performance of all kinds. But certainly in my role as a student, in my role as a professor, and in my role in life, I've had numerous times in which I simply did not get enough sleep, or my sleep was terrible for whatever reason. And yet I still had work demands and social demands, etc. One practice that is very effective at allowing you to focus better than you would otherwise under conditions of sleep deprivation is so-called non-sleep deep rest, or NSDR. This is also referred to sometimes as yoga nidra. Yoga nidra actually means yoga sleep. Yoga nidra is a practice of lying down for about 10 to 30, sometimes even as long as 60 minutes. You listen to a script. It's an audio script that takes you through a progressive deep relaxation. It involves a body scan, some long exhale breathing. It is very restorative in the sense that one tends to emerge from yoga nidra or NSDR feeling greatly refreshed compared to how you felt prior to it. There is also terrific neuroimaging data from laboratories in Denmark showing that there's a restoration of dopamine levels in the so-called basal ganglia after NSDR, aka yoga nidra. Whether or not you call it yoga nidra or NSDR, which is what I refer to it as, non-sleep deep rest, you can find these scripts at zero cost. Multiple places you can find, there are certain apps that are NSDR or yoga nidra apps. There is a NSDR protocol that was put out there by Made For, which is on YouTube, that you can access for free. There is a NSDR, or I should say a number of NSDR protocols through the Virtusan app. There are, again, a number of different places that one can access NSDR protocols. I do NSDR for 10 to 30 minutes per day, every single day, not just on days where I'm sleep deprived. If I happen to be sleep deprived, I would extend that NSDR to 30 or 60 minutes. And when you do that NSDR will depend on when you have time for that NSDR. When I haven't slept well, what I'll try and do is find a quiet place where I can do NSDR for 30 or ideally 60 minutes. Sometimes I will fall back asleep during that NSDR. That's fine if you do that. But most people will stay awake during the NSDR, and then I'll emerge from that and go about my day. If in the afternoon I'm very fatigued because of lack of sleep, I might do another NSDR of 10 to 30 or 60 minutes and then another work bout. Again, NSDR is something I do every day. I talk a lot about this in the episodes related to sleep because it can help you get better at falling and staying asleep at night, in addition to feeling restorative in that immediate time frame of the day in which you do NSDR. So it's immensely beneficial at various times and for various purposes. But here, within the context of trying to concentrate and focus when you're sleep deprived, NSDR, aka yoga nidra, is an immensely beneficial practice. There's growing amounts of quality science pointing to the neurochemical replenishing effects, as I mentioned before, dopamine, but also the potential for NSDR to replace sleep that you've lost. I would never want anyone to try and use NSDR as a total replacement for sleep, but under conditions in which you cannot control your sleep, NSDR is going to be the best way that I am aware of to restore your ability to focus and concentrate for whatever purpose. And if you emerge from your NSDR and then drink some caffeine, you'll notice an even greater capacity for focus and concentration for all the reasons directly related to caffeine. So again, NSDR is a general tool for enhancing your ability to sleep, and it's a tool that you can use in order to compensate for, at least to some degree, compensate for lost sleep when you need to focus and concentrate. One thing that really contrasts NSDR and yoga nidra with the sort of focus meditation that I talked about a few minutes ago, the 13-minute meditation, is that during the 13-minute meditation, you're actively trying to refocus and focus, whereas during NSDR and yoga nidra, you're actually trying to defocus. So you can think of the 13-minute meditation for refocusing and focusing as directly tapping into and mediating improvements in the circuitry for focus and concentration. Whereas you can think of NSDR and yoga nidra as modulating your brain and body state to allow you to focus and concentrate better. Now, another tool that you can use to directly tap into the circuits for focus and concentration and to greatly accelerate neuroplasticity, the improvements, or I should say the changes in those circuits that will allow you to focus and concentrate better, is hypnosis. A lot of people hear hypnosis and they think stage hypnosis, people squawking like chickens and doing things against their will. But actually hypnosis is a atypical but highly accessible brain state that's been studied with a lot of rigor at Stanford University School of Medicine by my colleague, Dr. David Spiegel. He's been a guest on this podcast previously. Hypnosis is a unique brain state because it's one in which you are deeply focused and yet deeply relaxed. So to just sort of set up the array of practices here so you can think about them logically, the focus refocus meditation is based on and focused on focus, no pun intended. NSDR and Yoga Nidra are aimed at deep relaxation. Hypnosis is this atypical, very powerful brain state in which you combine high levels of focus and deep relaxation. Now, it's a little bit of a tough one to just take oneself into, but fortunately, there's a tool based on a lot of quality peer-reviewed research from the Spiegel Lab and other labs, and that is the Reverie app, Reveri. The Reverie app is available for no cost, at least for a period of time, and then I think they place certain elements of it behind a paywall. But you can try at zero cost. It's available for Apple, soon I think also to be available for Android. And they have specific hypnosis protocols that you listen to, and these are very brief protocols. Follow the instructions. You're listening to a particular audio script of David Spiegel himself, and some progressive breathing and actually some eye movements that are directly linked to the neural circuits that allow for these highly focused, deeply relaxed states. And there are components within the Reverie app specifically geared towards improving focus and concentration. So again, there's meditation for focus, there's deliberate decompression, NSDR, Yoga Nidra, which take you into deep relaxation, and then hypnosis is this very special, very directed state of highly focused and highly relaxed, or I should say deeply relaxed, that allow access to the neural circuits for focus and concentration and allow you to tune those up and to improve those very significantly in a very brief amount of time. And again, some of those hypnosis scripts are as short as 8 minutes, some are as long as 13 minutes. So what we're really talking about here are zero-cost tools that directly tap into the neural circuits, the components within your brain that allow for deep relaxation, allow for deep focus, and improve your ability to focus and concentrate over time simply by repeating these. How often do you need to repeat the Reverie hypnosis for focus and concentration before you see benefits? Well, that will vary from person to person. I tend to use it once every third or fourth day and have experienced tremendous benefits from it. I don't think I'm unique in that sense. They have a lot of data to support this Reverie app and the protocols within it. How long do you have to do NSDR before you experience those benefits? There, I would say the first time and every time, because it's so deeply relaxing that you emerge from it feeling quite restored relative to how you went into it. And as I mentioned earlier, in the study on meditation, it took about 8 weeks to see the effects that they observed in that study, but they didn't observe shorter time points. So I highly encourage people to explore meditation geared towards focus and refocus, also NSDR, non-sleep deep rest, aka Yoga Nidra, and the Reverie app, specifically the hypnosis within the Reverie app that's geared towards improving focus and concentration. All of these have terrific science to support them. This is not woo science or hacks or just something that people came up with. This is all grounded in work from some of the best universities in the world, from excellent groups who've looked at underlying neural mechanisms and measured things with a lot of rigor, et cetera, et cetera. These tools are available to you. I highly recommend that you use them. And if you're interested in the optimal time of day to do these, we already mentioned that the focus, refocus meditation shouldn't be done too close to sleep. The Reverie hypnosis app can be done at any time, really. In fact, there's a component of falling back asleep in there. In other words, a hypnosis specifically geared toward helping people teach themselves to fall back asleep when they wake up in the middle of the night. NSDR, I always say, can be done first thing in the morning, in the afternoon, or any time of day. And in fact, I'll sometimes do that in the middle of the night if I happen to wake up and need to get back to sleep. So really, these tools can be applied most any time of day, except for that one caveat about the focus, refocus meditation not being done too close to sleep. Now, there's another set of behavioral tools that can really help enhance one's ability to focus, and those are visual-based tools. In fact, the tools I'm about to describe are actually being employed in a number of schools in China and elsewhere in order to teach children to focus better and for longer periods of time. Now, the key principle here is that much of our cognitive focus, our ability to think about something in a very specific way and stay focused on it, to read or to follow a line of conversation or math or music, etc., is going to be directed by our visual system. Our visual system has two forms of attention and focus. One is overt focus, which is very straightforward. If I'm looking at the tip of my pen, for those of you listening right now, I'm looking at the tip of my pen. That's overt focus. I'm focusing on it with my eyes. And of course, the rest of my brain then will follow and start to analyze the details of what I'm seeing, the contours of the pen, etc. It seems sort of obvious when you first hear it, but our cognitive focus tends to follow our overt visual focus. That's also why they put blinders on horses. That's also why sometimes wearing a hoodie or a hat or limiting your visual field in some way can help you enhance your cognitive focus. It can help limit distraction. You're just not seeing as much. It's also why when we ingest caffeine or any kind of stimulant, or we are stressed and our pupils dilate and our vision becomes more tunnel-like, less panoramic, but more tunnel-like. You know, they say a soda straw view of the world, or you're looking through a tunnel. Your focus, your visual focus, is actually driving your cognitive focus. Your cognitive focus is narrower than it would be if you were seeing the whole scene that you're in. So when you hear this, it sounds obvious, but for many people, including many scientists, it's just not obvious that this would be the case. However, that is the case. Your visual focus drives your cognitive focus. So what is a practice that has been studied in various laboratories and that's being employed in various schools is to have children or adults visually focus on one location for a given period of time. How long? Anywhere from 30 seconds to 3 minutes. And believe it or not, 3 minutes is a long time to maintain visual focus at one location. If you were to try that right now, you'd probably find it to be a bit of a strain, but if you want to try it, you can. Keep in mind, you, yes, are allowed to blink, but also keep in mind that meditation refocusing practice that we talked about earlier, that the refocusing is the key component of teaching yourself or your brain. You are your brain is you, but to teach yourself how to focus better. So if you're going to incorporate this practice, what you would want to do is pick a location. It could be on a wall, it could be on your computer in front of you, although I would encourage it to not be the contents of your computer screen. You might just want to blank your screen. You might want to put a piece of paper with a crosshatch there, any sort of visual target, or you can imagine a visual target, and then focus your visual attention on that target and try to breathe normally, try and stay relaxed, and certainly allow yourself to blink so that your eyes don't dry out. This is not a test of how long you can go without blinking. By focusing on that particular location and by forcing yourself to refocus on that location, anytime your gaze, your vision drifts.